Hey, it's Mark with Mark's Virtual Real Estate Channel. We're back with another Upland video, and today I'm talking about the mistakes I made when I first started Upland, and I'm going to talk about how new players can avoid some of those mistakes and get off to a great start in the game. So, Upland is a ton of fun. I'm a real life real estate investor as well, with commercial properties, residential properties, a store, a brokerage, and Upland is really cool for me to play, being a real life investor. And I wish I would have done some of these things when I started Upland, because I made some huge mistakes that really slowed me down, but it was still a lot of fun. It still kept me in the game. I still had fun with it. But if I had known these things, I really could have started off faster. And so I'm the type of person who likes to just get into something, do it right away, get going, and figure it out later. And while that can work in some cases, it's better if you do a little bit of research first most of the time. And that's what I'm going to tell you here. Some things to avoid those mistakes, get off to a great start, and hopefully start your Upland gaming career off on the right step. Now, of course, we love the likes, shares, comments. Keep those coming on this video. And we love seeing new subscribers as well. We do tons of videos about Upland, about city releases, about our nodes we have going with it. If you're new to Upland, you have no idea what that is, don't worry. You'll learn about that later on. And buying, renting, building properties in Upland too as well. It's a lot of fun. And I have my real estate channel. It's Mark Ferguson Invest for More, if you want to check that out too. Okay, so there's quite a few things I want to go over here. But the very first thing to think about when you join Upland is they give you the chance to go to a city, right? And how do you pick what city to go to? I picked New Orleans, right? I went to New Orleans, and the reason I went to New Orleans was I had just spoken at a conference in New Orleans for Bigger Pockets, a real life real estate group. I thought, oh, New Orleans is a cool city. I'm just going to go there. That's not the way to pick things in Upland, right? One thing you'll learn as you go through Upland is you don't want to buy stuff or pick things based off real life, unless it's like a crazy landmark, right? If it's the Sears Tower, or if it's the Empire State Building, or a football stadium, yes, that's important. But if it's just a cool part of town, or if it's just a cool city, that can have some bearing on prices and different things. But you don't want to base that on where you go when you first start the game. You want to look at a few different things when you start the game, and it can depend on you and what your plans are. So when you start in Upland, you have a very limited amount of funds, right? You don't have tons of money to start with. And so is your goal to just start with nothing and never put any money into the game? Or are you willing to put a little bit of money into the game? You know, whether you're willing to put money into the game or not will help decide what strategy you want to use on where to go in Upland. So that's something you kind of have to figure out. I'm not saying you have to put thousands or even hundreds of dollars into the game, but 10, 20 bucks can really help you get off to a faster start than if you're just like, nope, not paying anything. I want to be free. So no worries either way, but it can depend on where you want to going with the game. So you can see right here, Upland does not have every lot in the world plotted. They do have real life lots. They have real life plots, but there's only certain cities that have been released. We can see San Francisco, LA, Bakersfield, Fresno, Las Vegas was the most recent city they released, and they release cities about every 2 months. So a new city release is a great way to make a lot of money, build up your UPX, which is kind of your Upland currency, buy some properties, and mint properties, which is when you're the first one to mint them. You have Kansas City, Nashville, Chicago, Detroit, lots of cities around New York, the Bronx, Queens was just released as well, Manhattan, Staten Island, you have New Orleans. So you have these different cities you can choose to go to. And what I would say is do a little bit of research before you decide to go to one of these cities. And the best way to do that is actually to go to some websites that help support Upland. And I don't think this shows on my screen. It's upxland.me. Again, upxland.me. And you can click over here on the left, which my face is probably blocking. You can click on properties, and that will take you to this screen where you can search for properties in different areas. So, for instance, we can go to Detroit, which is a good city for beginners right now, and I'll tell you why. And we click in the city, and you can click on a neighborhood or collections, which we'll talk about later. Don't worry about those now. But you can also put under status, put for sale, and under FSA option, we're going to put all, and for mint price, sale price. Those are the three things you need to enter right now. And we click on search, and it will bring up all the properties for sale in Detroit. And we can expand this to 200. And we get a big long list of properties that are in Detroit. And what's important here is it shows us right here where the sale price is, the cheapest properties for sale in Detroit. And that's called the floor. So when you hear people talk about the floor and floor pricing, what they're talking about is the cheapest properties in that town or neighborhood or street. That's the floor price. So Detroit's floor price right now is 3,600 UPX. So this is important to know because you pretty much know you can sell a property around 3,600 or 3,500. It's going to sell right away. Now, as a new player, you've got an advantage because you can buy FSA properties, fair start properties. We'll talk a little bit more about this later. But what that means is you can buy properties I can't buy because I've advanced to different levels, and you can often get those for cheaper. So if I change this from all properties for sale to just unlocked, and I do search, it will pull up properties that haven't been minted yet, and that means a player first goes on this property, they can mint it, they can claim it as their own, and kind of like secure the development of it in a sense. And we can see there are properties you can mint right now in Detroit for 2,300 UPX. So basically, you could buy one for 2,300, turn around and sell it for 3,500 pretty soon, and have a guaranteed profit right there. Not a huge profit. You know, it's not going to make you a millionaire overnight, but it's a pretty decent profit, and you can pretty much do that right away. So that's good to know about where you're deciding where to start, right? Detroit has cheap properties. You can afford them. If we go to other cities, right? If we go to Kansas City, I don't know if they have properties for mint still yet in Kansas City. We can see they do, but 5,500 is the very cheapest right now. If we go to Nashville, these are some cities I believe still have properties for mint. 13,000 is the cheapest one you can mint right now. So they're more expensive. If we go to Las Vegas, which is the newest city, we have 7,700 is the cheapest minted property. So you can go through here and see where do you want to mint properties, where do you want to buy them. If you go to some cities like Manhattan, which is very, very popular, you're going to find there's nothing. Everything's been minted, everything's been bought. Very expensive place to go to. Probably not a great place for beginners to start at. So Detroit is a really good place to go if you want to mint cheap properties, buy cheap properties right off the bat, and a place to go. So that's something to consider before you pick where you want to go is how much money you have. Because if you're going to start with almost nothing, you don't want to put any money into the game. Detroit has cheap properties you can buy right now. If you're willing to put some money into the game, maybe go for a little bit more risk-reward situation, some of these other cities might be okay. Maybe. Just depends on what your goal is. Las Vegas is the newest city. Sometimes the newest cities have the most buzz, the most action, the most people buying and selling. So that could be one. We can see their mint price is 7,700. And if we change this to UPX, we can see their price now for non-minted properties is about 8,900. So again, some room there, but the markup percentage, which was actually higher in Detroit. So you might actually be able to make more money in Detroit if you're going to a new city as a beginner. All right, so we're going to go in order, kind of importance to you on starting the game, on what you need to know. And the next thing to know about is once you get to a city, how does it work? What does your Block Explorer do? How do you buy properties, etc.? How much money do you have? So this is my Block Explorer right here, and you can choose a different image. You can buy some, you can sell some, you can earn some, and he randomly walks around cities. So I will scroll out here. I'm in Los Angeles right now, and that's where we're at right now. And it's not easy to move between cities either. We'll talk about that here in a second. So if you pick a city, your Block Explorer will go there, and he will just start randomly walking around in different directions. And you can kind of see here his path, or her path, sorry. You can have female Block Explorers too. And that's important to know too. You can kind of see how far his path goes. And then when you're minting properties, which means you're the first one to buy one and mint one, your block explorer has to be within a certain distance to mint that property. So see these light green properties? These are properties I can mint. I can click on it. I can pay 30,000 UPIX right now, be the first one to own that property. Light blue means somebody else owns it, but it's not for sale. You could still make an offer on it, but it's not actively for sale. And then dark green means it's for sale. So someone else owns it. They have it for sale. I could buy it for that price right now. I could also make an offer on it as well if I wanted to. And then what we also will see is these gray ones right here. These are unminted properties. Nobody's bought them yet, but they're not close enough to my block explorer to purchase yet. So I don't know if he'll get close enough to that one to purchase because he's kind of coming in this direction, but eventually he'll get close enough to that one to purchase, and I could buy that one if I wanted to. Now, not only can you buy the stuff, oh, there we go, that one just turned green if you saw that. Can we mint stuff in his immediate vicinity around here, but all along his path as well. So you can see these are all green. And going all the way back, let's see if it has, there's no properties right here. But if there was a property close to here, you could also mint that property too until his path disappears. And then the light green ones will turn back to light gray once this path disappears and he's not close to it anymore. So that's important to know as well when minting properties, especially in new city releases when there's lots of crazy stuff going on and minting like crazy and lots of competition. Here, there's not much competition going on, not a bunch of people trying to buy these properties, so it's not as big of a deal, but it's important to know that. So, something to understand too is you can send him or her to different properties. So, like this property right here, I can click on it, I can say send, and it will send him over here. I don't want to do it right now, because I'll talk about that in a second, but he'll zoom over to that property, he'll stop on that property, and then he'll start going in a random direction. You can't pick it. He'll just start going whatever direction he wants to go. He'll go a certain ways, and he'll start turning directions, go all kinds of different places. All random. You can't really control that. The only way to control where he goes is to send him to somewhere over and over again until he starts going in the right direction you want him to go in. But when you do that, you only have a certain amount of sends left, right? So a send, you have 3 sends every day, but you can increase that. And that's something I didn't know when I first played this game. I didn't know it for like months that you could get more sends. And so basically, you can get paper airplanes that have more sends. And you can also send them to your own properties for free as much as you want. So if I scroll back out here, these blue dots are properties I own. Those are my properties. So I have a property right here, and I can click on it, say send, and it will send him to that property just like that. Boom, there he goes. This bottom button right here in the bottom left, that will zoom into him wherever he's at, and it will show me right there. There he is. He goes in a random direction, and now you can see these properties are unminted as well, and I could buy them if I wanted to. Now, there's lots of unminted properties in Los Angeles. The reason is they're very expensive there. They were very pricey. So some other cities are a lot less pricey than Los Angeles, mostly all of them. So it's very expensive there, and that's why there's so many properties still left. So I can keep sending him wherever I want. Now, if I want more sends, I have to find these little envelopes, which can be tricky. Like, where do I find these envelopes? You can just keep looking around like this, or we can go back to upland.me. And if I scroll here on the left, hopefully you can see this. Under my name, it says Find My Send. I click on that. I have my name in there already. I have the town I'm in. I click Search, and it will tell me what properties I have that are closest to sends right now. And so, let's see. Oh, 9044 Olin. We'll remember that. Or maybe I already copied it. Now, another tip. I want to type that in before I forgot. I clicked on this button in the bottom right screen, that magnifying glass. That lets you search for an address. You can put an address here, click on that address, and that will take you to that address. Notice it didn't take my block explorer to it. It took just my view to this address. I can zoom out a little bit. And just another tip, the farther you zoom out after a certain point, you can't see the grid of properties anymore. zoom in a little bit, then they show up. And this right here is my send. So I could send my person right here and hope he goes the right direction and just keep sending him over and over again until he goes that direction, or I can send him myself to this property, which does take some money. So notice it takes 25 UPX, and it'll use one of my sends. I can send him there. Boom, I'm close enough. So it kind of has to be the same thing. Those properties that I could mint, I have to be kind of in the same area as that. I got more sends. I have more sends to move around and do stuff with. I didn't know that for so long. So if you see those envelopes around you, click on them, get them. And then we can see if we send to another property. I have 8 sends now. You can get a maximum of 11 to 13, or is it 10 to 13 in that range, depending on how many you've used in a day. So if you use all your sends, go down to 0, I think it'll let you get 10 or 11 sends. If you've got all your sends, you've still got 3, I think it'll let you get to 12 or 13. So unless you do a special deal, sometimes they offer a bunch of sends, like 40 for doing a tour or some other stuff. That's more advanced stuff. But for getting sends, you can get them. It's important to pay attention to those sends, because if you get down to 0, you can only send yourself to your own properties. You can't send yourself to anywhere else. So it's always important to try and not get your sends below 0. If you get down to 1, kind of do what I did and try and find a send your Block Explorer to that area, pick up that send, and you can kind of keep doing that and keep looking for more sends. Or you can just, scroll around like this for a while and see if you see any pop up, and do that route as well, and just keep looking and looking and looking if you don't want to use the upxln.me. So that's something to consider. All right. So sending, that's important to know. Moving around cities, I can send my Block Explorer to any property in this city. North LA and LA are considered the same. I can send them to any other property in this city if I pay and use a send, but I cannot send him to another city. Even though I have properties in Bakersfield, I cannot send my Block Explorer to Bakersfield from a different city, right? I thought at first when I first started playing the game, oh, I'm going to take a train to Kansas City, I'm going to buy a property there, then I'll be able to send my guy between Kansas City and New Orleans. Can't do it. You have to be in that city. So in order to be in that city, you have to either take the train, which is right here, which takes some time in UPX, so you kind of have to send yourself to the terminal. Takes 25 UPX. Once you go over there, you can click on the terminal. It'll give you different places you can go. The train does not go all over the country because the tracks don't go that far, but most cities within a close range it will go to. And it's a little cheaper to take the train, and it takes a little longer. So if I want to go to a different place, it might take me an hour to take, or an hour and a half to take the train to Vegas or something like that. Or I can also, where is it? Go to the airport. And I can send my guy to the airport as well. And it's the same situation where I pay to go to the terminal, 25 UPX, click on the terminal, then I can choose different flights across the country. I can fly to JFK in New York from LA, cost me a couple thousand UPX. It does cost you money to fly to a city, costs you much less to take the train to a city, but that's how you travel between cities. Now, cars are supposed to be coming up, or are available now, but we still don't know how cars will be used in Upland, how they'll save you money if you can drive between cities, things like that. So we don't know how that's going to work yet. You still have to take the train, airplane, or some places have buses as well to go between cities. That's something I didn't know. So now what about the money you have? All right, so a lot of what I just recorded was not working right. My mic shut off, so I had to redo it. So that's why I'm in a different spot right now. But I want to talk about money, how to use money, how to get money in Upland. This is something I really wish I would have learned in the very beginning, because I would have been so much better off had I done a little research first and not just winged it and hoped I did okay. So you start in Upland with 4,500 UPX. That's not very much. As we said before, you can buy properties in Detroit now with that much. That's about it. So if you want to start in Detroit and flip properties there, you can. Just remember, if you're buying FSA properties, again, those are the Fair Start Act properties. You can only buy them when you have 100,000 or less UPX or net worth, and you can only sell 2 per week. So you can't go and buy 10 of them all at once and expect to sell 10 of them right away. they only let you sell 2 per week. So that's something to think about. But there's other things you can do to make money to get UPX. So don't worry, you're not stuck. That's just something to realize. Now, you can buy UPX directly at the UPX store. So I just clicked on the store. Here, I'll show you where I did that. Right up here on the top right, that's where you can get UPX. This is my yield I'm collecting, by the way, on my rentals. So after you have properties, it automatically earns 14% on mint price, not what you bought it for, but what it was minted for. That's when it was originally created by whoever user bought it. And then, sorry, my laptop cord is not ideal. So if it goes gray, it's my battery thinking it needs to be charged. So you can buy UPX in this UPX store right here. And I like to use Google Play because it's way easier. I can do it on my phone. It's like one touch, automatically goes through. And when I do that, I get Google Play points too, which I don't really use, but some people might. This is like the only game I play. So when you buy Upland or UPX, it's basically $1 for 1,000 UPX. You can buy more of it, but you don't really get a better deal at all. It's just higher in price. Now, the first time you buy UPX, wait, don't do it. If you haven't bought it yet, don't do it yet. You want to make sure you have a referral code entered before you buy UPX. And you can use my referral code. It will be down below in the comments or in the description of this video or someone else's. If you know someone else, you have a friend who plays a game and you want to help them out, use their referral code. Whoever code you use, just make sure you use one because it gives you a bonus when you do this referral code. So let me show you here. If you were to buy, I'm going to my profile right here, and you were to buy 5,000 UPX, you can refer people here as well. So if you have people who want to join, you can use this link as well. Once a friend becomes an Uplander and they use your referral link, Upland will match their first purchase and split it as a bonus between you and them up to a maximum of 100,000 UPX. So they will match their first purchase and split it. So if they purchase 100,000 UPX or you purchase 100,000 UPX, yes, I can get 50,000 UPX. You can get 50,000 UPX as well. Now, I don't know if I've ever gotten 50,000. I've gotten 25,000 lots and lots of times with people I referred in my videos. Mostly those were real estate people like me who were interested in Upland. So there's a catch-22 here. Geez. If you go and buy 100,000 UPX right away, you might not be able to buy FSA properties anymore. So a lot of people will buy 50,000 UPX, get the 25,000 bonus, so they'd end up with 50,000 plus 25,000. I would get 25,000 as well for referring you, or whoever you referral code you use would get that 25,000 UPX. So before you buy any, if you're going to buy UPX, make sure you use a referral code. You want to get that bonus and get someone else that bonus as well. That can make a big difference, right? If you spend $50, you get an extra $25 of UPX for free. So that's one way to earn extra UPX if you're buying properties. You want to put some money into the game. Now, something else to consider, as we kind of showed before, here you can see I am an executive, but if we go over to the different directors, executives, pros, when you're a visitor, you can't sell properties yet. You can't sell them, you can't do much, you're just borrowing properties. When you upgrade to an Uplander, you can start to buy properties. Now, try and upgrade during Spark Week. This shows you get 0.06 Spark if you upgrade in Spark Week, 0.12 if you upgrade to Uplander to Pro, which is 100,000, or 0.6 bonus, or sorry, another 0.1 bonus, Pro to Director. I missed these first two because I didn't even realize it. Now, I wish I would have done that, but I didn't. So try and wait till Spark Week if you can to upgrade. And you can still keep building your account and keep going before you click to upgrade. Now, I'm not sure on the 100,000 rule if you can get to 100,000 UPX and still buy FSAs if you don't upgrade, but I know you can keep getting money before and build your net worth until you click that upgrade button. So you can keep building and doing good and doing things before you upgrade and wait till Spark Week to do that. So remember that. When it says you want to upgrade, you don't have to do it right then. You can wait and put that off. and that'll help you out a bunch because that spark is valuable for the future. Now, getting to Uplander takes 10,000 net worth in UPX. So you start with 4,500. You can put $5 into the game, buy one property, you get a collection bonus. All of a sudden you're an Uplander, so it's pretty easy to get to that point. If you don't want to put any money into the game, it can take a few weeks. Buy some properties, sell them. You do get some collection bonuses we'll talk about here in a second, but it can take a much longer time. So here's what I'm talking about with collection bonuses. Okay, so there's something called collections in Upland, and that's important to know about as well. So we talked about money. We talked about, getting to your first status. Well, there's collections too. So collection is, if we clicked on this bottom arrow, see down here, you can click on this menu, and you have properties. That's the properties you own. These are collections, messages, talking about you can't send messages to other players, but these are messages for properties you're buying, selling, offers you're making, things like that. And treasures, treasure hunting, that's something else we'll talk about later on. But you can go to collections right here. And what we have are collections in Los Angeles right now, because that's where my Block Explorer is. But if you go down here, you can click on any collection you want. So we can go to Detroit. And, oh, look, I don't have all my properties in Los Angeles selected. That's because I sold one and it removed it from the collection. So it's good to check those once in a while and make sure you have those filled. All right. So we're going to go to Detroit because that's where we are. So you just click on that world map. You can go to any collection you want. And something else too. You have to be in a city with your Block Explorer to mint properties there. We showed you how you have to mint properties and go to different areas. But you can buy properties already on the market anywhere. Your Block Explorer doesn't have to be close to it. So I can be in Los Angeles, click on all the properties for sale here. I clicked on, I'll show you right here, this house thing on the bottom right. Click on that. That shows me all the properties for sale basically in my screen right here. And I can buy this property right now. I don't have to be there. Now, if I'm minting properties, my Block Explorer has to be there. If I'm just buying them that are already owned and on the market, I don't have to be in that city. I made that mistake too. I was moving to city, thinking I had to be in those cities to buy properties when I didn't. I could buy them from anywhere. All right, so collections, you can see these are all neighborhoods as well. So I clicked, if you look at this bottom right again, that little button thing shows you neighborhoods. So when I first bought properties in New Orleans, I had no idea there were neighborhoods. I knew that there were certain neighborhoods there, but I didn't know there were actual borders that Upland had created and had all these neighborhoods. So you can see I own properties in this neighborhood. It's a collection. Some of these are a collection on a street. That was a collection. That's a collection. That's a collection. And then 41 here, that's one of our lazy nodes in Henry Ford neighborhood. If you want to learn more about that, go to our Discord channel. We'll have a link below. Click on that. It'll take you straight to our Discord. You can join it and we'll welcome you, as we do everybody. But collections, if I go back to this, as soon as you buy a property, basically a collection gives you a bonus, UPX, and increases the yield on your properties. So if you buy a property and it mints for 10,000 UPX, you get 14% earnings a year based on the mint price. Now, if you buy it on the secondary market, that doesn't matter. It's only based on your mint price what that earnings will be. And these collections allow you to increase that 14% by certain amounts. So super rare collections really increase it, but just realize those properties are very expensive and it's very rare that it'll be worth buying those just for the yield. Usually it's worth buying those for flipping and the high value they have, not because the yield matches the increase in percentage. So right here, just for having 3 properties in Detroit, I can get a 1.25 bonus and UPX. I forget how much it is. 1,000, maybe 1,500. Now, if I had more properties in Springwells, which I don't think I do, I think I just have one. Yep. I could get more bonus. A one-time UPX bonus fee here that I've already collected, and then 1.3 on all properties I have. But I'd have to have at least 3 properties for that to be active. Since I don't, this is not active, but it is active. You can see right here on that because I have those. Brightmoor, another collection. Upland picks certain neighborhoods to be collections, and those are usually more valuable than other neighborhoods. So it's important to know if you're buying in a collection, not a collection, because that can impact values. Again, upxland.me can show us that and show you collections and show you floor prices of different neighborhoods as well. And it's good to get an idea of what those are before you start buying. But here, all you have to do is buy one house. You can do the newbie collection. I think it's 800 UPX you get, 1.1 bonus, and that and your 5,000, if you put $5 in and get 5,000 UPX, is enough to make you an Uplander. But remember, you want to make sure you're getting at least 7,500 UPX if you spend 5,000, because you want to be using the referral code to do that. And if you want to put more money into it, it makes sense to put more money into it that first time to get that one-time bonus as well. Another collection you can do is King of the Street, and that's just 3 properties on the same street. Again, more bonus, one-time UPX, and 1.3 bonus on your yield. So that helps out as well. And then you have a City Pro as well, which is just 5 properties in the same city. And that also gives you a one-time UPX bonus, a little more. As we move to the right, they get higher and higher, and 1.4. So you can't have 5 properties in Detroit, have them all in your City Pro, and have them as King of the Street. You can't have the same property in 2 collections. So you'd have to have 5 in Detroit, then plus 3 on the same street, then plus 1 here for a newbie, then plus 3 more here for Detroit, which is kind of cool because it means you can have a lot more properties in collections, but you can't, have more than what's allowed here. So just like this Brightmoor, I have more than 3 properties in Brightmoor. If we scroll down here, you can see all these are there too, but I can only choose 3. I don't get bonuses on all the properties I have there, just the top 3 I want. So you kind of want to make sure your highest minted, your most valuable minted properties are in those collections if you have multiple ones to choose from. I have videos on that go over that as well. And so we have lots of different stuff in collections we can look at that I've done. And yeah, these are pretty valuable. The exclusives are valuable. You get into rare collections, they get much more valuable. Ultra rare, super valuable. And you can kind of see all that in upxland.me. So that can also guide you on where you want to buy. If you can find FSA properties in collection areas, you can probably make decent money flipping them. But they can be hard to find because most people are also going for those. So if you just want to do best bang for your buck, you can go to Detroit. You can, as we showed, mint FSA properties for what was 2,000 some. And here, then we're going to take some of this off. Unlocked by mint price. And we're going to search Detroit again. And we'll see what that floor is. That floor is, my computer is slower here. I am sorry about that. Oof. Come on. You can do it. Oh, none? Come on. Oh, I have structures on. So that's why. I had clicked structures on there. So you can also sort by properties that have structures. That's something else. They add value. You can build them with Spark. We'll talk about that here in a second, but that's more of an advanced strategy. 2,300. Now, something else you can do is, if you want to make more money, whoops. So we talked about buying UPX, getting your bonus. Well, you can also buy with dollars. So we can go here. I kind of showed you this before. Click here, look at all of Detroit, and you'll see here, price $3. Now, this is not UPX. That's not 3 UPX. That's $3. Actual dollars. You can buy properties with dollars in this game. You can also sell properties with dollars in the game, and that's how you get your money out. So that's one thing. It's much easier to put your money into Upland by just buying UPX. You can't just sell your UPX and get dollars. The only way to get your dollars out is to pretty much sell your properties for dollars. So there's ways to get your money out, but it's not simple and easy. I like how Upland does it. I know some people don't because it is based on the dollar, which means it's more stable. Like some of these other virtual real estate worlds like Mana and Decentraland, Sand, they're so volatile. Their prices are dropping like a rock right now because they're based on a cryptocurrency that's so volatile. This is based on the dollar, and we haven't seen that in Upland. We haven't seen crazy drops, so that's kind of nice. But due to rules and regulations and different things, it can be trickier to get your money out, but you can still do it. So this is how people get money out, is by selling their properties in dollars. You can go buy a property for $3 right now, which is just a little more than mint price, right? And it's not FSA. That's something to look at. That's not FSA. So you can sell it right now. You aren't limited by only selling 2 per week. you can come here, spend your money, buy these, and flip them. So instead of just spending money directly at the UPX store, which I recommend for your first one and your referral fee, but after that, it's probably smarter to take your money and buy properties at a discount for dollars instead of UPX, and then if you want to flip them, go sell them for the UPX, because we can see here, right, what the floor is. We can buy properties for 3, turn around, and sale price $3,600, $3,690. So floor, there's some profit there. But if we go to different cities, if we go to, say, Manhattan, we'll do that, and search for dollars. This is interesting. This can show you there's opportunity here, and this, is fun for me to look at different neighborhoods in different cities and see what they have. Not always fun for other people. But you can buy a property for $70. That's their floor. And then, if you really wanted to, the floor for UPX here, as we wait, about $100,000. That's a pretty big markup. 30% profit if you're buying for dollars and then trying to sell it for UPX. So there are some ways to spend actual dollars, buy properties that way, flip them, and sell them for UPX, and then you're not getting 1,000 UPX for $1. Maybe you're getting 1,300 UPX per $1. So that can help you move faster and get through the game quicker as well. All right, one thing I wanted to mention too that I kind of forgot, maybe I'll remember to splice this in earlier, maybe I won't. If you don't have many properties and you're looking for sends, it's kind of hard to find it with the send finder because it uses your name, right? So if we go back to the send finder, there it is. And I have my name, sure, it pops up, but if you're brand new and you don't have any properties yet, it's not going to be able to find very many sends. But if we go, I think I'm in Los Angeles still, and we do a little trick, I believe that's how we spell it. Abdullah is probably the #1 player in the game as far as net worth and money spent. He's got over $2 billion. So I just went to my Discord right now, and we had all these cool tips I had in here on my Discord, and I'm going back to look at how to spell Abdullah's name right, because that was a really good tip that I got from here, and so it's really cool to see, all the cool tips on here. And let me see. Oh, where is it? Also, there's bad things to do while I look through this. Don't create multiple accounts. If you do that, you could go to jail. Upland jail means you can't buy, sell properties. It's not good. If it seems like you're cheating in some way, double check on Discord. Make sure, because people can go to jail. They don't really lose their properties, but they get their account restricted. So make sure you don't do that. And then, let's see here. Where is it? Here it is, and I'm not sure why it's not working. I think I spelled it right. Well, that worked there, so you can see the map here, and it will show you where all the sends are based on that user's name. So he has tons of properties. There we go. So that can save you some time searching and searching and searching for sends. Sure, it's fine. And there you go. That's better, and can help you find sends if you really need them in a quick manner. Okay, now, something else to think about too is some things you can do on the PC version, laptop version, or like if you open a Chrome browser in your phone and don't use the app, that you can't do just on your phone in the app. If there's specials over here, like you can buy Spark during Spark Week, which is what this is, this won't show up on your phone. You have to be either in a browser in Chrome on your phone or on a PC on a laptop. And then, as I was showing you before, if I'm looking at properties here, these show up as $3 on here. If I'm on my phone on the app, this will just say available on web is what it will say. So you can't even see these. So some of this stuff on Upland, you want to be on a PC, you want to be on a computer. And if you're doing like the city releases and trying to mint quick and do crazy stuff, it's so much better to be on a PC than your phone. It can be very difficult on your phone. So it's also good to know it's good to have a PC to actually play this and do certain things on it, because a city release can be tons of fun, and basically they do them every 2 months. And so if you're looking to really get a head start, make a lot of money, focusing on a city release is a good idea. Las Vegas was the last city release, and what happens is they will give you plenty of warning, tell you when it's going to be released, but you won't really see the neighborhoods until the day before it's released, or maybe even a few hours before it's released, and they don't tell you what the collections are. So people speculate on where these collections are going to be, right? What's that collection going to be? This is going to show me Detroit. But if I go to Las Vegas, we can see what the collections were that were announced just recently. Did I click on that or not? There we go. But before, there's a week before the collections are announced and after the city is released. And that's when you can mint properties in certain areas, buy properties in certain areas that you think might be collections, and speculate and say, hey, am I going, is this going to be a collection? Can I really make some money? Or, like I like to do, is just buy properties where I think will be collections, like Las Vegas, downtown, Arts District, Fremont Street. Those are all very popular areas that most people thought would be collections. I can buy those, sell them and flip them before the collections are announced, make money that way too, or mint properties there if you're lucky. Now, you won't always be able to mint those properties because there's tons of competition. And there might be streets like Sahara or Flamingo or different areas that people thought would be collections that don't end up being collections. So if you spend a lot of money hoping they're collections and they're not, it could really drop the value of your properties tremendously. So that's why I like to sell my properties before the collections are announced if I can, to really maximize my investment and not risk losing a bunch of money. And something else is something to think about too when you see the game. So you might hear the term named properties. What they mean are, see, I have a Carl's Jr., a Buffett at Asia, Subway. These are named properties. They have names in the game. These can be worth a little more. Not a ton more, but technically if you are able to get named properties, you've got a better chance of selling them than unnamed properties. So that can help you too. Now, if they happen to be theaters, if they happen to be gas stations, banks, sometimes churches, some Uplanders love to buy those more than others. So especially gas stations are more popular. Theaters are popular. So those can actually make a lot more money than, say, having a Subway or a Carl's Jr. But I think it's kind of cool to have those. So that's something to consider as well if you're minting a city or really starting out in an area that might have named properties still, which would be crazy if it does because they go pretty quick. Those are very valuable for most people. Waterfront properties can be more valuable. Golf course properties can be more valuable, but not a ton. Some aren't more valuable. Just kind of depends on the neighborhood and where they're at, and if they're in collections or not, or if they're in nodes, which is a community group getting together. And to know what the nodes are and where they're at, you pretty much have to be on Discord or follow YouTube channels and see what nodes people are talking about. So there's a lot that you can really go into this game and make it complicated, but you don't have to know all that stuff right away. You can learn that as you go, and these kind of the basic tips of helping you make the most money and make the least amount of mistakes you can starting out, and avoid the mistakes I made over and over and over again because I was too impatient and just wanted to start playing the game. All right, so we've talked about money. We've talked about getting sends. We've talked about where to mint, maybe what cities to go to start out in, using dollars to buy properties cheaper than, say, using UPIX, using referrals to get more money. I might have said that. Traveling, floors, really pay attention to floors and what prices you're paying. If you want to buy in a certain neighborhood, it's easier to sell stuff the cheaper you get it. So if you can buy at the bottom of the floor, it's so much easier to sell it than if you're buying at the top or in the middle or higher up. Higher price properties are harder to sell in general, unless they're super special properties, unless they're high-end collection properties, the Sears Tower, something crazy like that. Those will be a little easier to sell. But for the most part, the cheaper the property is, the easier it is to sell, and pay attention to that. So it can be better to buy a cheap property on the secondary market that's already been minted than to mint a more expensive property. Even though you're the first one minting it, it can be more expensive. There are also fees to think about. So if you sell a property, you pay a 5% fee. If you buy a property, you pay a 5% fee. That kind of goes into the UPX fund. They use that fund for all kinds of different things, for paying their rent. They yield different things. And if you mint a property, you don't pay that fee. So you do save that 5%. But in the grand scheme of things, 5% often isn't that much, depending on how you're minting, where you're minting it, what you're getting. So just minting to mint is not always good, and that's kind of what I did to start with. You really want to select what city you want to mint in. You want to get the cheapest properties you can, and possibly not even mint that many properties unless they're FSAs and good deals, or just buy on the secondary market. And something else we can show you here too. I'm on upexland.me again. We're going to go to the properties, and then let's go look for some cheap properties in Detroit for sale by sale price, not collections, just anywhere in Detroit. We're just looking for cheap properties. Well, here's this property. Well, how do you find that property? We'll just copy the address. We'll go to Upland. Oops. In this button right here, this magnifying glass, you can search for addresses right there. So we'll paste it in there. There it is, Detroit. We click on it. It takes us right there to Detroit, so you don't have to search for it. You don't have to like go along the street or anything looking at addresses. It'll take us right to that property. It's light green, so remember, that means it's for sale. We click on it, $3,600. We can buy it right now, or we can make an offer on it as well. You don't have to pay full price. We could say, hey, we're going to pay $3,000 and make an offer. They don't have to accept it, but we'll do that right now because I'll buy that property for $3,000 if I can. And sometimes they'll let you offer less. Sometimes they won't. It just depends on how the owner of that property has it set up. So that's how you find a property. Since I can buy this because I'm not minting it, it's already for sale. So that is cool. And then we'll see what happens. And then in my messages, I'll also get an email. Oh, I have all kinds of messages. What is going on here? Whew. Someone just offered to buy a bunch of my properties. Okay. So I'll look at those. But you'll get messages that say, hey, your offer was accepted or denied. And you'll also get emails. When you buy properties, when you get offers, you'll also get an email so you can see that that came in as well if you know you have an offer coming in. And I'll have to look at these here in a second because I know we keep spending a lot of time on different stuff on this video, and that's not what I want to spend time on. So that can tell you if your offer is accepted or not. And if you click on properties, we go here. This shows you all your properties, your net worth, different things. Well, right here, I can click on sent offers, and it tells me what offers I made, and they're right there. So those are the offers I've made. They haven't responded yet, so they're still here. If they reject the offer, it'll disappear. I'll get a message. If they accept the offer, it'll disappear. I'll get a message saying it was accepted. And when you make those offers, it does deduct that money from your account as well. It's gone until, if the offer is accepted, obviously your money goes away and goes to the seller. If they reject your offer, they'll put that money back in your account. So if you see your account balance go down after you made an offer, that is why. Another tip real quick that I forgot to mention is if you're buying properties, especially in nodes, but it helps to follow this tip in most areas as well, try to buy properties you can build properties on. So you can use Spark to build properties. It's not a focus when you're first starting out, but later on it will be. And you can see there's a little townhome being built right there. And almost all these lots you can build a townhome on, except for these little tiny ones. They're too narrow. If you buy a lot that's too narrow and that property won't fit on here, it's not worth nearly as much in a node, and it's not as worth as much in other areas as well. So pay attention when you're buying properties of if they're really weird shapes or really skinny, they might not be quite as valuable as other properties. All right, I think we went over enough for a beginner's guide to keep you out of trouble and hopefully get you started in the right direction, buying some properties, maybe minting some properties, buying them on the secondary market, and then putting them in your collections, collecting that money, maybe getting, spending at least $5. But if you really want to spend more money, I would spend more to get your Upland bonus. Become an Uplander. Then you can sell those properties, start flipping properties, start collecting some rent on them, making some money. And it is a lot of fun. Mess around on upexland.me. There's some other sites too that do well. I forget what they're called, but I've used them before. And you can look at neighborhoods, different price points, different things. Maybe you have a property in a certain neighborhood or area that you want to look at, and it's possible you could try and make an offer and buy a property that you know of. And speaking of that, that's something else that I didn't show you really quick, right? If we go to properties here, here's a property for sale right here. I can see quite a bit of information on it. So this shows me the price, the size, this is how big it is, the monthly earnings, how much money it makes per month, and these are the earnings if it's in a collection. So it'll tell you here it's in the Studio City collection. So I can see if it's in a collection right here. The Los Angeles collection is any property can be in that, so that's not important. The Newbie collection, any property can be in that, that's not important. But Studio City is important because that's an actual collection. It might make it more valuable. Treasure hunting is something you do to collect more spark, which helps you build properties and does more advanced things. I have other videos on that if you want to learn about treasure hunting. And something else we can do is look at the street view. So we can see the actual street view of what this property looks like in real life, which is pretty cool. And we can go up and down the street and see how it looks. Zoom in, zoom out. We have kind of a Google street view of the property, and you can see what you're buying. Again, that doesn't really matter too much in Upland, what the property looks like. Some people might care, but most won't. So remember, just because it's a cool area in real life doesn't mean it's a cool, valuable area in Upland. And just because it's a cool, valuable area in Upland doesn't mean it's a cool, valuable area in real life. A lot of those do coincide. The collections often are cool and neat areas, but it's not guaranteed they'll be collections, and it's not guaranteed they'll be valuable. All right, thanks for watching. I'm sure I forgot a ton of things. If you have questions, leave them below. Comment on this video. You can join our Discord channel. We're happy to help you there too. The link will be below. Just click on it. You should be able to hop on our Discord. There's no entry barrier to joining it. You can just hop on, get accepted right away, and people are super happy and helpful to help you. If you want to join our lazy nodes, that's really cool too. All you have to do is really buy a property in one of those nodes, hop on Discord and talk to us. You can even hop on Discord before buying a property and talk to us, and we'll be happy to have you and tell you what you might be able to do to help get into one of those nodes or how they work. They're very simple, very easy. That's why we call them lazy nodes. All right. Love the likes. Love seeing new subscribers. Hopefully this video helps you. If there's anything else you need to know, let us know below. I'll try and respond to you. Thanks a lot. We'll be back with many more videos, more contests, more cool stuff coming up here soon.